We're back in Indianapolis, Indiana, the Court Club for the Echelon U.S. Junior Olympic Racquetball Championship. It's the men's finals. Lee Felsmo along with Steve Strandemo. And of course, this is one of many events of the AARA. We want you to know that information on memberships and any tournaments that would be available to you as a player or as a spectator, that information is all available by contacting the AARA, the American Amateur Racquetball Association, 815 North Weber in Colorado Springs. They're right out there at the USOC training site. They're a Status A Olympic sport, and you could compete for your country in the sport of racquetball along with scholarship opportunities, many things available, and along with competing, racquetball could be a big part of your life. There's the phone number. Now we're ready for the men's finals, and we're going down to Otto Dietrich, who will now talk to the finalists in the men's finals. And of course, that's Joe Paraiso and Mike Guidry. Let's listen in. I don't believe we can really hear it, but Steve, right here, he's just going over the basic rules. Otto Dietrich with the two contestants, and he'll flip a coin to see who serves first. What might he be saying? You've been there many times.
Well, they'll go through just to make sure that they feel comfortable with the appeals, so they understand the appeals. He's going to try to tell these guys to give each other room for the shot so we can get good spontaneous play, keep it under control, and enjoy some good racquetball.
Joe Paraiso in the dark jersey to your left. To your right, Michael Guidry, defending champion. Otto Dietrich, the National Rules Commissioner, and he'll be the referee for this match. Now gets prepared by going up on top of his lofty perch. And here the crowd takes a little bit of energy into this anticipated start. Joe Paraiso looks like he won the toss, Steve, as we looked at a jam-packed crowd here at the Court Club in Indianapolis.
Tremendous culmination to the tournament. They have so many different divisions. We were going around watching some of the play in all the divisions from 8 all the way up to 18, and in both the gals and the guys this morning. And great little players that are just going to mature and become excellent players when they get to these guys' divisions.
Joe Paraiso, 19 years old. He's 5'8.5", 162 pounds, 19 years old. Lives in California, in San Diego right now. Michael Guidry, the defending champion, lists himself at 5'8", 150 pounds. Again, 19, the defending champion. And not only that, but he's a 1988 Junior World Champion and a Junior National Sportsman of the Year for 1988. 2 games to 15. And if they're tied at 1 game apiece, we'll go to a tiebreaker. That goes to 11. Right away, if you were with us for the women's competition, Steve, you can notice the increased velocity of the shot for these young guys. They really can hammer the ball. Side out on the first call.
Even that
side out again, no score.
That first return from Guidry, he wheeled his whole body into that thing and hit that thing at a tremendous pace.
Good shot by Guidry.
Well, they've both come out of the blocks shooting. Guidry's got a forehand down that wall. Actually, Joe gets over to that side and cuts it off. Now, that would have been an opportunity right there to possibly cut that ball off in the air. Still takes it as his second option off the back wall and scores down the right wall.
And again, for a lefty, that is a forehand shot, which really gives him some accuracy. No score yet. Trading serve, side out again. That's 3 straight. Stingy players, both of them. They don't want to give up the early lead. No score. Skip ball, that'll be the first point of the game. And challenger Joe Paraiso gets the first point, 1-0.
So he gets it, catches Mike a little bit off guard, kind of jams him up a little bit, hits the actually, the ball got a little bit of ways away from his body, and he couldn't get a good pop on that shot.
Paraiso with a 1-0 lead early on. He's the challenger. Ooh, kill shot there, side out. Not much Joe Paraiso could say about that, even if he was standing 3 feet away from the wall. That one really hugged the wall.
Actually, his early strategy for Joe was to come right at Mike's forehand. Good cross-court pass behind Mike. See if he...
1-0, and of course side out gives the ball back to Joe Paraiso. That's an ace.
Again, what you see is what we saw in Michelle's and Cindy's match previous, is that when Joey can make that ball bounce twice.
Paraiso, 3-0 lead, and he's got Guidry on the defense.
There's great action in the middle of the court when they're ready to hit the ball as it comes to them. Excellent center court play.
Jams Guidry again, and Paraiso gets his 4th straight point.
Even for these guys who hit it that hard, if you want to make your low drive serve, let's show this center court play. Nails that thing with Guidry on his right side. He takes an open stance swing down the left wall for a point.
Guidry kills it into the corner, side out.
So hard for these guys to hit a low offensive shot because of the pace they hit the ball. It's hard for them to keep the ball from rebounding off the back wall.
Paraiso nails the other corner, side out, back to Joe.
It's a tremendously difficult shot to short hop the ball and then reverse pinch it out of the right corner.
Skip shot, point to Joe.
He's going right to his forehand. Even with a lob serve, he's going straight into his forehand, where most players will immediately go to a left-hander's backhand.
Side out, 0-5 is the way the serve stacks up, and defending champion Guidry down by 5 and still finds himself down by 5. Paraiso will not give him an inch. Side out, back to Joe.
5, serving 0.
Play hinder called by Otto Dietrich. That's Paraiso in the dark jersey. Mike Guidry, defending champion, in the light jersey.
Rally starts with a backhand off the back wall. Then the ball comes back into the middle of the court right there. Mike couldn't quite see the ball enough right there to get a good shot. So therefore Otto called the right call, which was a hinder shot.
Of course, Guidry's right arm waving. He's saying, hey, Otto, give me a break.
He's trying to tell him that he can't see it, so he wants a hinder.
5-0, Joe Paraiso taking charge against the defending champion.
Hold it. Hinder on it. Hinder.
Guidry was in position. He felt I think he had that Joe blocked off in the shot. He really wanted to go ahead and hit it, but it was taken away from him. 5-0.
Looked like he had an offensive shot. So could have easily fallen into the avoidable hinder category.
He gets it back anyway. Side out, ball back to Michael Guidry. He needs points. 5-0, he's down. We're playing to 15 in the first 2 games. And he's down by 5. Skip fall. That means the first point for Michael Guidry, the defending champion in white. 5-1. Another good kill into the corner. He's taking charge.
Get him pinned off to the right side, and then he hit it back down the left wall. Got an offensive shot off the return offense, and then the ball kicks back in. Swings over to Mike's forehand. Joe comes around on the right side and hits it back down the left wall. Good placement of the shot. Good strategy.
And Guidry will maintain service. 2-5. He's clawed back 2 straight points for him. And there's an ace. 3-5. Doing anything differently, Steve?
Well, these guys are so accurate they can even go for crack aces right behind the short line. And the ball cracks out in front of the dotted line and takes 2 bounces before it gets over to the receiver.
Great shot by Paraiso right down the wall, and even though the extended effort by Guidry almost got to it, the point side out goes to Joe Paraiso.
Watching the technique, his racket is up. He swings that thing through right back down that first box. Mike goes for it. Ball catches sidewall, just can't reach the front with it.
And of course, if he had gotten it, it would have been an easy kill, seemingly, for Joe Paraiso, who really took charge of that on the offensive end.
He had him out of position to the left. It would have been an easy shot down the right wall.
Skip shot. Look at that. The ball was split in half. That shows the absolute intensity of the shot by these young 19-year-old kids. And, that ball's history.
There it is right here. You'll see that ball probably disintegrate right there. But
explosive left hand of Mike Guidry. There you are. Look, turned into two different balls.
There's another view of it. There it goes. It explodes right there. But as hard as this ball's been hit, the balls hold up tremendously well.
Play the rally. Joe Paraiso serving. The score is 5, serving 3.
Side out, ball goes back to Michael Guidry. He will have the serve now. He's down by 3, 5-2. Or I'm sorry, down by 2, 3-5 he is serving. Good anticipation, but Guidry was there. Steve hit a skip ball when he had it right in front of him.
He anticipated Joe going into the right corner with the shot. That meant the ball was going to go over to the front left. He was right there and just hit that ball a little too fine to the front wall and skipped it in.
Joe Paraiso. 5-3, he leads. Look at that ball right back to Guidry, side out. Can't hit it better than that.
No, it's a great return. Actually, Joe's trying to figure out a little bit of where he wants to serve him. He came out first serving to his forehand with some good success.
Lines it as I called the serve short. There's an appeal. The call stands. That's 1 appeal used. You have 2 remaining. Second serve.
Well, you heard it. You only get 3 appeals in the game. 1 already used up by Paraiso.
Great shot in the center of the court. The ball came over to Mike with his backhand with an open stance. He pinched that ball back into the front right corner. Good serve. Gets down on the ball, snaps a Z, looks over his left shoulder. Ball kicks right back into the center of the court from an open stance. He holds, waits on the ball, pinches it. Excellent, because Joe's back, he pinches it up in the front.
Score is 4, serving 5.
So Guidry fighting his way back. He was down 5-0, now 5-4. Skip. I was going to call Skip a good shot, 5-all. He's gotten 5 straight points to come back to a tie game here in the first game of this championship match.
Actually, he splatted that ball using the right wall. Good offensive.
6-5, Mike now takes the lead.
Good offensive overhead. He comes back on this shot, hits an overhead shot, cross court. Actually, it virtually turns out to be a winning shot. Joe goes for it, gets down the floor, but can't dig it out.
6-5 now, Guidry, 6 straight points. Paraiso came out, Steve, and stunned Guidry with 5 straight points. Really put us back against the wall, but Guidry, showing that championship form, has scored 6 straight, now taking the lead.
Actually came out of the box serving to his forehand, scored some points. You know, most of the time the lefty just feels it because so many righties play a lefty always serving to the back right corner. He might have caught Mike a little off guard. Gave him some forehand shots and couldn't make him. Jumped out to an early 5-0 lead.
Mike Guidry serving in the first game. The score is 6, serving 5.
And Guidry now picking up steam. 7 straight points for Mike Guidry. 7-5, he leads.
Serving 5.
Guidry couldn't reach it. A good series, maybe the longest rally so far. Side out, ball goes to Paraiso.
There's a serve. He gets down so low on it, snaps it around. Joe comes out of that corner, digging that ball. Ball comes over to this side. He can barely reach it right there and flicks it back. Joe's going to come back on it. Really puts his fingers up, appealing that he didn't think Mike got the shot. There's a good backhand technique. Now it comes over to this, again, a center court shot, open stance. Couldn't quite get it. Joey slides that ball back, pinching it left wall, front wall. Mike couldn't get it.
The wall dynamics, very important. Of course, these guys know exactly where to go. Put that ball out of reach. Paraiso now, after allowing 7 straight points by the defending champion Mike Guidry in white. Paraiso in the blue shirt. Second serve. Side out, he can't get a point. He was up 5-0. Now down by 2. Good shot by Guidry. 8-5 now, leads by 3.
Really nice example of how these guys are ready for the ball as it comes back into the center of the court.
Serve was short. Second serve.
Joe Paraiso calling a timeout, even though it was a side-out opportunity. They'll get 3 timeouts allowed each game.
This shot is so difficult. It's a short hopping the ball. You hit it at contact at about knee level. You hit it right after the bounce, and the ball's on the rise, and you hit it back into that low offensive area for 2 bounces and a winner. Very difficult skill.
We look at Mike Guidry now during the timeout. Each player allowed 3 30-second timeouts per game. And of course, you need to win 2 games to win the championship. First 2 games will be played to 15 points. If a tiebreaker is necessary, we go to 11. This is the crowd at the Court Club. They're hanging from the rafters here. One of many championships sponsored by the American Amateur Racquetball Association, an organization that really is traveling worldwide to really spurring the growth of racquetball in this country and compete against other countries. So much going on with racquetball now that they're in the Pan American Games, and you can represent your country as an amateur athlete in racquetball. Scholarship opportunities, so much to do. Crowd getting behind Joe Paraiso. He now has the serve, but 8 straight points by Mike Guidry has Joe Paraiso talking to himself, I'm sure. Great hit by Mike Guidry, left it. Even though Paraiso was right on the tee, Steve, that ball was so low, rolling off. No chance to get it.
But Mike had a chance to take it as it went past him by, and he went to the back wall, sets up, rackets up, pulls it down low. Ball hits about as low on the front wall as you can get it, and it rolls out in front of Joe for a winner.
He makes it look so easy. That is such a sensational shot from the distance he was from that front wall.
They have good technique, and they swing through with a lot of power and are very accurate.
So side out now, back to serve. He's at 8 straight points in his favor. Skip, it'll be another point. That's 9 straight for defending champion Mike Guidry. Another point, 10-5, 10 straight for Guidry.
A lot of times when Mike flicks at that last one, he'll come in with a serve. And notice what happens in the center of the court. He's very ready. The ball comes in there. Kind of just ad-libs that shot, but he places it accurately away from Joe. Where somebody might think that that's not a great racquetball shot, it is, because he took advantage of his position opportunity.
Sensing that Joe was behind him and a long way from that right corner. That's where he put it. A defensive lob. And it cost him.
Great shots down the line. First he hit it down the left wall, then Joe went down the right wall, and the second one Mike just couldn't get to. Here's a shot right down the right. Tremendous. Mike tries to get it, hugs the wall, and bounces twice just before the back wall. Good effort on defense, trying to recover that shot.
10-5, and again, it was 5-0 Joe Paraiso, the challenger. And then 10 straight points by Guidry. But it's Paraiso with the serve right now. He's in blue. Guidry in white, the lefty. Side out, and he gets it back.
Sometimes in situations in the center of the court, you'd like to be offensive with the shot, but sometimes you have to, like Mike did there, flick it up and wait for a better time. Then he goes for the offensive shot. Now it sits there, and then he can score. Ball hits front wall, side wall, rolls out.
So again, Guidry with a 5-point lead 10 straight. Paraiso kills one on the front, rolls out. No chance for Guidry to do anything about that, and he gets the serve back.
Good examples of technique for both forehand and backhand for the viewers to watch to get their rackets up. Forehands, they lead down with their elbow, then they get extension. Great shot behind. Actually, the ball was behind him. He was moving backwards on the shot, still hit an offensive cross-court shot for a winner. In his service right now, he's coming out of the box. He watches the other player hit the balls behind him, and he still has the ability to snap it cross-court for a winner.
Going away from the ball. Very difficult shot.
Score is 6, serving 10.
And more importantly than that, it was 10 straight points for Guidry before that 6th point for Paraiso. That's a skip. Ball goes back to Mike Guidry.
Boy, nice opportunity there, though, for Joe as the ball comes by his backhand there is to cut that thing off in the air with Mike still back in the right corner and volley that thing down the left wall or pinch it left wall, front wall.
Point for Guidry again, working that powerful left hand.
The score is 11, serving 6.
11-6. 4 points away from a first game win. Guidry with the dive, can't get it. It'll be side out back to Paraiso. He's down 11-6. He's battling for his life in game 1 of his championship match.
Nice, and the Joe was really ready for that left up ball. He hung in there with an open stance and he nailed it. Mike couldn't quite get up and get it. Good example of being ready for a left up shot in the middle of the court by Joe.
Score is 6, serving 11.
Last 11 points. It's been 10 for Guidry, 1 for Joe Paraiso, who started off with a 5-0 game here. And finally gets another one. Point for Paraiso, now 11-7. He's very much in this game.
7, serving 11.
And Guidry hammers it down to the wall. They're looking at a little bit of moisture on the floor. They want the towel boys to come out.
Good example of a serve. The ball is hit so low. Mike steps over before the wall and hits it. Ball's behind Joe, and he can still hit some kind of an offensive shot. There's a good example of a backhand right there that can't be reached. Actually, Joe is having more success serving to Mike's forehand than he is to the backhand.
So we're still in game 1. That's the defending champion, Mike Guidry, member of the Echelon team. Joe Paraiso as well with Echelon.
Mike Guidry serving. Scores 11.
Guidry, the defending champion. Again, the dramatic thing here is 10 straight points after being down 5-0.
Good. I thought it was good. Agreed. Thank you. Point.
Point for Guidry to 12 point. He's only 3 away from a game 1 victory. This is Mike Guidry's dad. They come in from all around the country to watch this great competition. And they came in from Odessa, Texas. The Guidry folks. That's Vaughn Guidry with his wife, Gwen, coached by Dave Peck. Skip ball by Guidry. So a point by Paraiso, who still is in this. He really is benefiting right now, Steve, from that 5-0 lead. Even though he's been shellacked the last 13 points, he has that 5-0 lead to keep him close.
Very equal ability players again. Mike is probably a little bit more experienced in that than he's been here and is a defending champion. It sure didn't hurt Joe to go to Houston last May and be second in the 19 and unders. Got him a lot of good experience.
Ball goes back to Guidry. Defending champ in white. Paraiso, Joe Paraiso in blue. It's a point opportunity for Guidry and white. Guidry thought he had it. On the hit before that, he raised his hand, but then he still had an offensive chance, Steve, and he nailed it into the corner. That's point 13. He's 2 away from the game 1 win. He calls a timeout, maybe for equipment. He looked at his racket, and we'll have to check that.
We'll see Mike go back at an offensive shot. Ball kicks back into the middle of the court. Joe goes for it. The ball is left up just a little bit. Kind of catches him off guard there a little bit. He fly kills the opportunity right there. There's another chance where he might be able to fly kill opportunity there and puts the ball down. Now, he actually thought that was 2 bounces for Joe, but he continued to play, and then he put it away in the right corner with a little overhead shot.
So Guidry now checks his equipment as we look at Vaughn Guidry, coming in from Odessa, Texas to watch his son. And Mike now in control.
Mike Guidry serving the first game. Scores 13, serving 8.
13-8. Game 1. Play hinder, they'll do it again.
That ball was left up enough. Mike wanted to put it down the wall, caught the sidewall, kicked back in. Joe, and moving from right to left, was going to get to the ball and turned into be a hinder play.
We're at the Court Club in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Scores 13, serving 8.
Amateur sports capital of the world, they like to call themselves.
That's good.
And that makes Daddy happy.
Score is 8.
At least the score does, 13-8. Paraiso gets the serve back. Skip call, point to Paraiso. That's number 9, and with a couple more points, Steve, Guidry could start to feel the heat.
Well, actually, Joe is kind of been up and down in this thing. He when these guys get offensive shots off the back wall, they're so adept at putting the ball away that they've got to try to serve those low drive serves, either good or short.
Tremendously powerful shot. That's the whole Guidry family there. Is Michael Guidry's sister right next to his dad. Guidry really
Good
taking charge. This is his 14th point.
Z serve, ball kicks back in, all ready for it right there. Can't quite put it down like he'd like to. Ball's behind him, and he really wheels and deals that thing off balance. And Joe has to take it into the back wall. Then he sets up on this forehand. Good example of some sound technique. Drills it low, can't get it.
A lot of diving by Joe Paraiso, and look at that. Guidry gives him a little bit of congratulations for the effort. They've wiped the court down a little bit because with those diving shots, you leave a lot of moisture. 14-9, serving for the first game. Right here is Mike Guidry. He'll get 2 serves.
Second serve.
There it is, right through Paraiso. That'll be it. Game 1 to defending champion Mike Guidry as we look at Vaughn Guidry, his dad. The whole family's here. Mike started off very slow as we see him cool down. They're going into game 2, another 15-point game. And Steve, whatever, maybe the strategy, as you said, of going to the forehand, crossed him up, but it was a 5-0 lead by Paraiso that was quickly overcome by Guidry. Here's the last point.
He tries to short hop it again. Chooses not to take the ball as it comes through off the front wall, takes it off the back wall, rolls it out with his backhand for game point.
Both these guys in tremendous condition. Fatigue not going to be a factor today. They can go all day at this age and with that kind of conditioning.
There's another angle of it. He comes off the back wall, has his racket up, pulls with his shoulders, actually hits the ball a little further to the left on the front wall than he'd like, catches the side wall and kind of cracks out before it gets to Joe.
And as a teacher of the game, Steve, I'm sure you like to see that kind of backswing and extension and follow through that he had on that backhand. Really lets it go.
Even after that, what he does as soon as after he hits that shot, he's coming back into center court to get ready for Joe to get to his shot and then hopefully leave it back up again. So these guys are always ready for the next person's left up shot.
This is the Court Club here in Indianapolis, the host club of this year's championships, and boy, what a few days they've had with all the competitors, almost 500. 8 on up, and of course when you have the kids this age, they all bring their parents, so it's been pretty crowded here over the last 5 days for the first game.
Actually, the service aces and the power serves are are pretty close. Guidry had 6 and Joe had 4. The power returns are about even. Actually, what happened is I think that Joe got off to a quick start, was kind of unsure of really how to serve Mike. Mike is such a sound player that he got back in and has a pretty total game. And Joe's now got to kind of feel out how he wants to approach Mike in the second game, where he wants to serve. He's got to get ready to hit. But because both players are such strong hitters and have the ability to hit, it's not so much that they're ready to hit, it's who now makes the shot, who can score, who can close those rallies.
Okay, so that is the way it stacks up for game number 1 as we get set for game 2 here at the Court Club. Players out warming up. And again, the crowd getting behind defending champion Mike Guidry. Here he comes. He's got 1 game behind him. He needs 1 more. And that'll either be this 15-point game right here to win the match. If Paraiso can come back and win, that would force an 11-point tiebreaker. Steve, if you're Paraiso, do you recognize any changes that he might want to make in his game?
Well, the hard thing is to serve against Mike, who's such a sound player, to serve to his backhand. He has had everybody in the world serve to his backhand because he's a lefty and everybody plays to that backhand. That's so sound that he might be better off going right to his forehand, trying to generate a left-up shot and then do something with it.
Guidry starts off strong. 1-0. Second serve for Guidry. Defending champion in white, Joe Paraiso from California. He's the challenger. And Guidry not going to let that 5-0 cushion happen again.
Little finesse shot. Fooled Joe. Joe didn't expect that to come out of there. And just a soft flick of the wrist.
Beautiful, hard, powerful shot to the middle. And it was such a high-velocity shot, Steve, that Guidry couldn't even react in time.
He'd like to get out of the box, but that ball came back so fast it just caught him off guard.
Down by 2 points, Paraiso serving. And there he gets 1. No. 2 bounces is the call. So the first point for Paraiso. He's only down by 1 now. He'll be serving 1-2.
He's got the serve, and then he gets a return, and we'll see him stretch out on this shot right here. Good ability. Ball's by him, and he still flips the ball with his wrist and his shoulder arm cross court before Mike could get over and get it. Great athletic ability for Joe.
And of course, the towel boys out there taking care of all that moisture. 2 diving shots leave a lot on the surface.
Good to note that a lot of times these guys have such good swings that the ball can actually be a foot or 2 behind them, and they kind of be on the run and can still hit the ball towards the front wall into the low offensive zone for potential winners.
Joe Paraiso serving. The score is 1, serving 2.
Paraiso down by 1. Side out. Guidry with a 1-point lead in the game 2 comes back to the serve box. He's already won game 1.
So he comes in with the serve, and it's a low drive to the left, steps over, can't quite put it away. He wants to right there, and then Mike swings in and hits a winner cross court.
Which gives him the opportunity to serve again. It was a side out. 2-1, he leads. He already won the first game. Point called for Guidry.
One thing we take for granted so much with players that are such top level players is that if you're watching, see how they watch each other. How they watch each other, how they get out of each other's way, how they give the hitting lanes to their opponents. Tremendous role models in court etiquette. Leaves it up, wants to score with it, pinches it using the left wall, catches Joe off guard, just can't react and get up to that shot.
Score is 4, serving 1.
There's a shot down that left wall.
Guidry just leaned back and gave it all the velocity he could with that short forehand.
He worked Joe over to the right and had that offensive opportunity down the left. So he goes with a shot, comes back in with a backhand. You can see it low zone. Joe barely gets to it, but he's off balance on this side and hits it before Joe can get back. Players should understand that you don't have to be always set up to hit a good offensive shot. If your swing can get offense and find your range, your feet don't have to be in that great a position.
And that last point was a good indication of that for Guidry. Side out, ball back to Paraiso.
Whenever the opportunity exists, there's Joe hitting from an open stance. Just barely flicks the ball, Mike does. Comes back in, backhand, right down the left wall. Actually, hit it right to his forehand, but Mike couldn't get over and get it. You always like to set up on the ball if you possibly can, but you have to be open-minded in that if you can't set up and you feel that you can produce a good low zone shot with that swing that you've got off balance, you should go and do it.
Jam-packed here at the Court Club in Indianapolis. And if you like the look of this court and you're playing in your own hometown and want to know how you can get yours to look this sharp for TV viewing or for just for championship matches, point by Paraiso. Contact the AARA and Luke St. Ange, the director out there. They've worked hard to make these courts more visible and better for spectators, and they'll help you along that route. Another point for Joe Paraiso.
Well, it was a crack ace over on the right side, similar to what Mike had produced in game one, where he cracked it out using the left wall.
Short. Second serve. No.
5-4. Joe Paraiso on the move.
It was a good center court shot. Mike is going for it. Ball swings over to the left side because Mike is still a little bit on the right side. He tries to take the ball down the left, does it very nicely. Ball bounces twice before Mike can go over and get to the shot.
So Paraiso clawing his way back into this one. Skip shot, that'll be another point. 5-5, game's all tied. This is game two. Guidry won the first one. He can close out the match here, but Paraiso is not going to let that happen if he can. All tied at 5. Skip shot, that'll be point number 6 in the first lead of this game for Joe Paraiso.
A lot of times what you've got to do is change your service up a little bit, because if you stay with the same serve at the quality of play that they are at, the receiver gets too grooved in. So you got to try to mix and match and stay ahead of the receiver so he can't get grooved into that service pattern.
Steve, 6 straight points for Joe Paraiso.
That ball was left up a little bit. Great backhand right there. Scores with Mike a little bit behind him. Good center court action. They're cutting the balls off. They do that very nicely. Good example of covering left up shots in center court.
6 straight points again for Paraiso. He's in the blue. There's a winner by Guidry, the defending champion. He was off to a commanding 5-1 lead before the 6th straight run by Paraiso. Short on that one. He'll get his second serve. Defending champion, Mike Guidry. Really chopped it in short.
Well, Mike had served, so he had Joe in the back, and he's watching. Notice how Mike is watching him hit the ball. Then he sees it. He anticipates the shot, and he pinches it as Joe's moving up into center court, but the ball bounces twice before Joe can go up and get to it.
So cutting off the momentum of Paraiso, Guidry gets his own point, back to within 1. That's a skip shot. It'll be side out to Paraiso. Paraiso with the lead, 7-6, and now the serve.
Tried to splat that ball using the right wall, and he just angled it a little bit too sharp into the side wall, and therefore it skipped into the front wall. But it was a splat offensive attempt.
And Guidry side out right back to get command of the serve. 2 side outs in a row. 6 serving 7. Guidry down by 1. He had the 5-1 lead. This is game 2. That's a winner. Game tied at 7.
They play the game so offensively and so sound that he got a weak return from Joe, set up on a good forehand and just nail that thing about as low as you can on the front wall, down the left wall.
Score is 7, serving 7. Point.
Point for Guidry. He gets the lead again, 8-7.
Serving
2
7.
straight. Actually, 3 straight points.
Hold it, stop.
Hinder called by Otto Dietrich, National Rules Commissioner.
Nice play there. Mike really on the shot selection there would have liked to do it. It's always hard to do, but because Joe is in the back left corner, he would have liked to have taken that offensive forehand in the center of the court and pinched it left wall, front wall, away from Joe.
Serving 7. Second serve.
Well, Hinder was called, but believe me, Guidry wishes he wasn't in the way of that one. Ball caught him, looks like it was right on the hand.
Comes around, he short hops the ball, and it goes.
Hits him right in the right hand.
Looks
I
like he
believe.
probably was reverse pinching it out of the right corner because he's already hit a couple of those shots, and that was probably in the direct path that Mike was standing. So, close call, but lucky no injury, and
Hands play ball.
play
Mike
continues.
Guidry serving. The score is 8, serving 7.
8-7, Guidry in the lead. That's a winner, 9-7, 4 straight for Guidry. This has been a game of streaks.
Timeout's been called by Joe Paraiso.
And Paraiso calls a timeout. Paraiso ran off 6 straight points. Guidry came back with 4 of his own. And here's the last point.
It's kind of a one thing the racquetball players have got to consider at all levels of play. It's a little different than tennis in that when you play tennis, you only have what we would consider to have one option, the ball coming to you. If you don't hit it, you lose the rally. But in racquetball, a lot of times you can hit the ball as it's coming to you, or you choose to hit it off the back wall. So you have option 1 or option 2, and that makes for some neat subtleties and anticipation and savvy of the game. So consider your option 1, the shot coming to you before the back wall. Option 2, ball coming off the back wall.
So back to game 2. Guidry already the defending champion and winner of game 1. You only need to win 2, of course. If Paraiso going to fight back and win this game, they'll go to a 11-point tiebreaker. Guidry has won the last 4 points. Side out, Paraiso comes right back, benefits from the timeout that he called.
Service action coming in here, brings the ball back in, sees it over his left shoulder. They do such a great example of Z serves and the proper turns. Ball was a little short on the Z serve, came off the sidewall for a good offensive shot for Joe's backhand.
Serving 7, serving 9.
Skip ball, it'll be a point for Guidry.
Side out.
Side out, no points, side out. Guidry gets the serve back. And again, when you look at the streaks, let's take a look at that last play
An example of
first.
the center court play where they're so ready. They're considering option 1, and the more they get adept at doing this and stay with it in the next few years, they are going to become great players because the action in good racquetball very much of the time is in option 1, ball coming off the front wall.
9-7, you see the score with Guidry, defending champion in white and in the lead. Joe Paraiso, closest to us in the blue shirt. He's the challenger. And this has been a game of streaks as we look, Steve, at the scoring. Guidry winning 5 of the first 6 points, and then 6 straight by Paraiso before Guidry came back and scored 4.
Well, it's so difficult when you have the momentum to keep it because the other guy starts loading up his guns a little bit, and if you just let down for a second, you can lose the momentum, and sometimes you can't get it back for 4 or 5 points.
Point for Guidry. He really extended himself to lay that ball into a rollout position.
Mike really has quick feet. He's so agile around the court, and right in there he just dives up and actually in a diving position rolls out his backhand down the right side. Tremendous athletic ability.
Serving 7.
10-7, 5 straight points for Guidry.
That's an example right there that he could have taken it as the ball went through option 1. Right in here. If he'd have taken it right there, he really had Joe out of position. Now he goes to the back wall. Obviously, he hits a good shot and rolls it out. But Joe moves into defensive coverage in center court. So a lot of times when you can cut the ball off, you have your opponent out of position. You have to hit it with less time, or you take it off the back wall with your opponent coming into better position, but then you're forced to make a better shot. You have to weigh out option 1 versus option 2.
Words from the coach, Steve Strandemo. One of the greatest players to play the game and use that strategy over any physical ability his opponents might have had. Side out, finally, 11-7 the score. Paraiso 4 points behind. And he needs some points here because 6 straight have been scored by Guidry. There's a roll out, beautiful hit from the back, and that really has to be hit perfectly from the distance he was away from the front wall. First point in a long time, 11-8. Skip hit the bottom wall just before it hit the front wall, and Paraiso gets 2 straight, 11-9 now. He's only 2 back.
Well, the serve really did come off the back wall a lot. Joe's so offensive in here. He's hitting the ball. Right here, the ball kind of comes through, hits at his feet. He's going for an offensive shot, just a little bit too fine into the front wall, skips it in. He had Joe on the right side. He had an open lane down the left.
And he had a 4-point lead before the last 2 points scored by Paraiso. Paraiso facing the inevitable end if he doesn't win this game. Paraiso in blue has to win to force a tiebreaker.
That's a great example.
He put that one away.
Great example of when your opponent hits it into the back wall, and he has a great shot right there, so Mike can only hit it into the back, that Joe moves up into the service box area, fly kills the ball, pinches it up in the front away from where Mike is in the back court. Great strategy to watch.
His 3rd straight, Steve. It's 11-10. He's right there as they get some of the moisture off from the diving attempt of Mike Guidry, the defending champion in white. It's 3 straight now to bring him within 1. 11-10. Guidry still leads.
Athletically, both Joe and Mike are so evenly matched, like a lot of players are, as Michelle and Cindy were. So a lot of these matches could be 15, 14 matches. They sure have the talent for it.
It's been a game of streaks. Again, if it holds true, Joe might rip off about 3 more points before he gives up the serve. Second serve, he's down by 1. He's 10, serving to 11. Pretty sweet shot there, Steve. You didn't wait. He caught it on the half volley to really take the timing out of Joe Paraiso.
Again, just for players who are watching this, realize this is a tremendously difficult still. You swing all the way around, you hit the ball right off of your knee as the ball is rising off the first bounce, and he pinches it tight perfectly into the right corner. Difficult shot.
Guidry has the 1-point lead. He's the defending champion with 1 game under his belt already today. 4 more points, he can be the champion for the 2 years in a row. Point to Guidry and a timeout.
Timeout's been called by Mike Guidry. That's his first timeout.
Mike Guidry calls a timeout, and as he calls a timeout, we'll go take a look at that point one more time.
Well, he serves it and causes a ceiling ball return, and it looks back that the ball is hit very high, and he comes with an offensive splat, tough, tight splat pinch type shot that spins off the left wall, hits the front wall, and dies before Joe can get it. It's a good angle. It shows how it hits the side wall, comes down, just about rolls off the front wall. Joe goes for it, but just can't get it. That's tremendous offensive talent from taking the ball so high with your forehand.
So Mike Guidry, defending champion, 2-point lead. He called that timeout. He wants to have all the energy he will need, I would imagine, Steve, to get these last 3 points. He does not want the tiebreaker. He wants to close the door on Paraiso right here.
And this is where you start, like we were talking with Michelle a little bit, on closing it off right now to really hit some fine shots when the pressure's on.
That'll be short. He'll get his second serve.
A lot of times it's easy to score points when it's 4-4, 5-5. But the great players can get back into these 12-10 situations.
Skip shot, 13-10. 2 points from a championship as Dad looks on.
Score is 13, serving 10.
2 straight for Guidry.
Short. Second serve.
One point away. Mike Guidry, defending champion, 14-10. He's won the first point, or the first game of this match. Joe Paraiso, trying to break the momentum, calls a timeout of his own. And 14-10 again. The first game underneath his belt already. This will be for the championship when he serves again. This is the last point.
There's a backhand. It kind of doesn't come off his racket with maybe the velocity he wanted, but he still got his racket, made good contact, and hit low on the front wall.
Tough position, 14-10. Joe Paraiso fighting for his life. One more look.
So comes over there, backhand shot. Kind of is tough to pull off the side wall, but does a great job of it. And his dad's very happy, and one more point, and they got another victory, and they got another championship.
No question about it. If you're down 14-10 and you're Joe Paraiso, Steve, you really got to. It's a double-edged sword. You've got to gamble. You've got to be aggressive, but then you can't make a mistake.
No, that's right. And the pressure's on. You can't all of a sudden play this defensively just because the other guy's got 14. You've got to take the offensive shot that presents itself. You've got to make it. You've got to get back into the service box and see if you can peg some points out.
This is for the championship.
And he
Paraiso gets it back. Showing a lot of guts.
Now's when you got to dig inside and just get 1 point at a time. Get to 11, get to 12, possibly get to 14, and then see if you can close it out.
He'll have to win 5 straight points to force a tiebreaker. Ball goes back to Guidry. A beautiful shot. He pinches the front or the left wall.
Actually, on the return, he got a pretty good shot in the middle of the court, but he didn't do anything with it. Ball jumped back in. That's a shot to make. He got what he wanted. He got a left-up shot. Hit it pretty high, gave Mike a pretty easy shot around the service zone area. Can't give it to him. Look at that. See, he got what he wanted right there. It was a left-up shot in the middle of the court. He jumped on it pretty aggressively, but the ball went way high. That ball was up 8-10 feet on the front wall. If you give Mike these kind of shots, he's going to hit too many winners.
14-10 again, serving for the championship, Mike Guidry. And Paraiso says, no way. That's 3 straight side outs.
Scores 10, serving 14.
Now he's got to get a point. Somehow he's got to peg out a point.
He's got it.
Now you go back and get another one. Pick the serve, get ready for the left-up shot, put the ball away, finish the rally, kill the ball.
Is that what you kept repeating to yourself, Steve, back when all the championships were rolling your way?
Well, it was hard to... It's a hard position to be in, but it's kind of a fun position to be in because you play it so intensely.
Hold it. 2 bounces. Side out.
There's no time for miscues right here. I mean, he can't make a miscue on this return of serve. He's got to go back in.
Scores 14.
There's been 4
He
side
had a
outs.
shot. There's another shot. He didn't make it, but he had it. And Mike is ready to cover it.
This is for the championship. It's an ace. And Mike Guidry defends his crown. Dad Vaughn looking on. He's proud. And the crowd gives their appreciation. 2 straight games over challenger Joe Paraiso. So Mike Guidry wins 15-11. 2 straight games. And a proud guy he must be. He really put on the pressure, Steve, when he had to.
Low drive serve. It landed right in that second zone we were talking about. When you can make that ball land in that area, it usually takes 2 bounces before the back wall. Joe went for it, couldn't get it. An ace to the forehand for the championship.
And he will get the award for this year's Junior Olympic Championship. This is 18-year-olds. You can actually turn 19 as of January 1. And a great match for Mike Guidry. He had some pressure early on when Joe Paraiso ripped off 6 straight points to take a 7-5 lead. Guidry had to regroup, and he did so, coming back to win handily, 15-11. You think back to the first game of this particular match, 15-9 the score, but it was Paraiso who was off to a 5-0 lead there, and Guidry had to come back and run off a string of 10 to get that first victory. We'll take a break and come back and talk to the champion for 2 years straight, Mike Guidry. We'll have some words with him when we return to the Echelon Junior Olympic Championships. A proud papa. Stay with us. Echelon, the most recommended name in racquetball. We're back at the Court Club in Indianapolis, Indiana, and that's the gold everybody plays for. And of course, Penn, the sponsor here at the AAR event for the U.S. Junior Olympic Racquetball Championships. It's been a fantastic competition, and we've just finished up the men's area of the 19 and under. And the winner for the second straight year, a young Michael Guidry. We've got him right now. He's got his gold medal around his neck. Michael, it was a real game of streaks as we look at that second game. Joe came back and scored 6 points straight against you after you had a 5-1 lead. Did you make any changes to get back in control?
Well, I just kept myself positive, saying that I had to play 1 point at a time, and I understood he got hot and he started hitting good shots, so I just realized that he was playing well, and I just had to keep playing consistent like I had been playing and get him out of there and just play 1 shot at a time.
He was definitely a force to contend with. I mean, he's offensive from both sides. He can move well, and he was a strong contender for you.
Yes, he definitely was. He's very consistent from both sides. The only way that I felt that I could get points was to keep him off balance and set up my kill shot with a series of passes.
Michael, late in the game, you were leading 14-11, but there was 3 service changes, and then this came up with Joe serving. Take us through this. Talk about this point. This got the serve back to you.
Well, he had a good serve and had a good angle on it. I just got lucky and made a good get on it and jammed him off of my get, and he gave me a setup off the back wall, and I executed my forehand pinch.
Beautiful play, and of course that set up the final point of the game. It didn't take long. Give us a little bit of your mindset when you were getting ready to serve this last ace when you were up 14-11.
Well, I realized that I only had 1 shot. I had already had 3 chances at 14, and just to keep playing consistent, I'd been pounding on his backhand for the last half of the match. So I decided that I would try to surprise him by going with a drive serve to the forehand, and it worked.
And of course, nobody happier than your dad. Your family's here, and he was very happy, very proud of that moment. As I watched it go in, there it goes. He enjoyed the victory as much, I'm sure, as you did.
It looks like it. Hopefully my whole family, they seem to really enjoy it.
All right, that's the champion for the men's singles. We congratulate again Mike Guidry, and thank you for joining us here at the U.S. Junior Olympic Championships. Now, Steve, final comments. We look over the competition. We've wound up 5 days of intense competition of almost 500 players from coast to coast come out here and showcase the skills. We show the 8 and under. It goes 8, 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s. And then the guys here that have won will graduate on to the national competition, open competition, and it's another step up the ladder.
Well, for Michelle and Cindy, they're both experienced, established, and are ready to go in now to the professional ranks and other amateur ranks, tournaments that are going to come up. Cindy played really well. She's going to want to, sometime up in the future, pretty much be able to close a match out with Michelle, maybe get 1 victory under her belt, and then maybe can change the momentum a little bit of that rivalry.
So that'll wrap it up here, and once again, the champions here in Indianapolis. In the women's side, it was Michelle Gilman from Ontario, Oregon, winning over Cindy Doyle. And for the men, it was Michael Guidry defending his championship against Joe Paraiso in 2 games. For Steve Strandemo, I'm Lee Felsmo. Thank you for joining us here at the U.S. Junior Olympic Racquetball Championships.